Reinvestment or Efficiencies Task Force. This one was, I think, far more tactic-minded and opportunities that exist in the community. We started by taking a look at the desired outcomes in analyzing our opportunities. We want to look at the outcomes that would create greater sustainability for the sector, stronger resources for creativity and innovation, reduced overhead costs, and stronger skill sets for the 21st century workforce. We first divided those opportunities into a couple of buckets. Number one, arts education. Number two, operational. Some of this is really going to kind of cross over a little bit with the education task force and the process task force a little bit. The one thing we didn't do is we didn't take a look at artistic opportunities itself. I think we all agreed that a common theme amongst this group and this weekend, and a lot of us believe strongly that there is this sense of artistic chaos in the community. That's a good thing, a positive thing. I think we spent too much time talking about pure artistic collaboration. Which theater companies should consolidate, which dance companies should consolidate. You begin to look at too linear of an organization. That ought to come, I think, from a much more organic place. So we want to talk more specifically about specific opportunities to create capacity for artists to create, artists to teach, etc. So we tried to divide it into those kinds of categories. We started with arts education. Some of this does cross over with our previous group here a little bit. Number one, we felt like we needed, there was an opportunity to create, and I know some of this is already a bit in process, an inventory of arts education programs that are being delivered throughout the M7 region, and an opportunity to assess their impact or effectiveness of programs, identify duplicative efforts within those programs, but also we didn't want to forget about geography. It was pointed out, within the NPS district, you may have 6 different art groups delivering programs to one school because that principal, those teachers may be highly engaged, but 2 blocks later there's nothing. And we should take a look at that sort of geodemographic study across the region to see how we could take a look at those programs and how they would connect with instructors to see if that could be more equitably delivered across the region itself. Again, using resources a little bit more effectively with the organizations, with profit, nonprofit sector, as well as the institutions. We also wanted to identify national best practices for such delivery mechanisms and how people are measuring those. We suspect that this has probably been discussed before, and that we ought to take a look at how people have done this in the past. And also, we thought it would be a good opportunity. We can't force theater company A and theater company B, say your programs are similar, one has to go away. But we can create incentives through in-kind partnerships of how can you become more effective itself, and how can we essentially kind of incentivize that in partnership with the districts itself. That needs to be fleshed out a little bit more, but we're trying to figure out a way to continue to create opportunities to the partnerships would be stronger. So we looked at those opportunities in arts education. Then we came over to the operational side of things. And again, not dictating so much what people should be doing artistically, but how do we take and create more resource for sustainability, and how those resources can be funneled better into creative work. The first thing we talked about was sort of a space and facilities assessment within the creative sector itself. What are the actual space needs for program delivery itself? Do we really have a solid assessment of that, or a solid assessment of the deferred maintenance and capital issues in the area? But then parallel to that, taking a look at sort of the plans for urban development or economic development throughout the M7 region, and could we align the needs of those creative communities that have space needs with those that are really strongly working on economic development, to use the leverage of the creative community to help leverage urban development in specific areas of the community as well. But a study of both sides needs to be done, and then bringing those people together to see if partnerships make a lot of sense. And also then, could those partnerships then, for the creative sector, create greater efficiencies of operations, utilities, other overheads, that would then funnel more of the earned dollars or contributed dollars back into where they should go, which is programs, artists, and the creative side of what we're doing from a mission standpoint. The second opportunity we talked about was in the human resources side. Specifically, we talked about insurance pools, even more specifically for small organizations and individual artists that may have a difficult time getting access to the kinds of benefits that they would need to be sustainable themselves. The larger organizations have a little bit more leverage and I think don't have as difficult a time, but would there be something that could be created much like the Business Health, what's it called, the Business Health Care Coalition, that could be tapped into, that could be offered to the broader creative community itself, and that could be expanded to disability and other sorts of programs as well. We had a discussion about opportunities within IT to the broader creative community, essentially, if you will, a pool or a bank of IT support or technology, either storage or hardware, kind of taking in a small way what 4 or 5 organizations have done, the large project in Tessitura, which is a centralized ticketing and database program itself, but expanding that idea to the broader community, so you're making IT support and technology available to the broader community itself. And then there was discussion also in a similar way about a purchasing pool itself. So materials, supplies, etc. could be pooled, and could the corporate community actually tap into it well, because the corporate community has a significant amount of leverage in allowing the nonprofit community to be able to bulk buy materials. But we also, besides just office materials and whatnot, we started talking about things like print jobs that are much, much larger projects, where if we went out to we all have marketing materials, we all have those things. Could those be pooled so that you're looking at larger contracts and larger in-kind contributions back to the community from corporations itself?
Questions?